Moser. Guys, this is my first experience with Moser. This is a brand that I've really admired in recent years from afar when it comes to the colors that they work with, their dial work, and just overall how bold these are. They're so simple generally when I'm looking at the product catalog, but I don't know, it's a fun brand. So I'm excited to have hands-on with this Pioneer Center Seconds in the funky blue black Fume edition here. So the black is in reference to the DLC coating here on the case and on the buckle. And then the funky blue is the dial color. We have a Sunray Fume dial that is so clean. It looks so good. Well, it just depends on the light situation that you're in. So if I angle this, you guys can see the reflective nature. You can see the polished, beveled, applied markers raising off of the plane of the dial. And then I get it in the right light and you really see the sun ray and you see that gradient transition from the bright, funky blue to black at the edges where we have a black rehaut and loom plops that are printed on. So it's a really fun addition, very simple. I look at the dial, I see hands, I see the applied markers, the loom, and then the only printing is the brand, which is simple and clean. And I like that. I don't necessarily want to see the name of the watch, the water resistance, whether or not it's automatic or not. You know, when you're spending over $10,000, really, if you're spending over $4,000, you know that you have an automatic piece, you know the specs. And so I like this move or this trend some brands are doing to simplicity. And I think that's strong. I really do enjoy that. Now, I want to thank Exquisite Timepieces. They're an authorized dealer for Moser, and Moser, the brand, sent them this watch and told them, hey, if you have any clients, if you have any contacts that you would like to spend some time with this watch, have them wear it, post a few pictures to Instagram and kind of get their opinion, go ahead and let them borrow this Pioneer Center Second. So it's thanks to Exquisite, it's thanks to Moser that I have this, on wrist for about a week or so, and I can do this video, I can do this presentation, and I will do a small comparison with the nicest watch that I currently own, which is the VC Overseas 4500V in blue. So you guys can see side by side those two watches. This is really exciting. Guys, I'm geeking out a little bit. I'm nerding out a little bit, but that's the life of being a watch, just a watch nut. So I feel very blessed, very happy, and let's talk details of this Pioneer Center Second. So I'll place the dimensions here on the screen, and this is bold because it's a very substantial watch when it comes to the size. It's larger than what you would see a similar stylistic watch from another brand, say a Grand Seiko, which very simple, very clean designs, but you're going to be around 40 millimeter in most instances. And this is pushing 44, and you feel the weight and you see the presence on wrist, and you look at this domed sapphire crystal, and it might be the most dramatically domed crystal that I've had experience with. Like, this to me almost feels like a micro brand crystal. It is so domed, and you get some great distortions at oblique angles. And then you look at the dial, which I mentioned is so clean and so well executed. And depending on the light that you're in, you see the reflective finish. And then you angle it a different angle and you see the sun ray, you see that gradient transition from funky blue to black. And it is so fun. It looks awesome under this sapphire crystal. But I will say, I could do with some better anti-reflective treatment. I'm going to be critical in this review. I don't want to come across as a fanboy too much. So I would like to see better anti-reflective treatment. And then here is my next comment here. Let's look at the case. So we have a DLC coated stainless steel case. It's a little unusual. Generally with Moser, you're going to be getting a precious metal case. So this one is steel and it's coated, which is nice because DLC holds up the best when it comes to coatings. So this will look really good over the years. And you guys will see kind of indentation here on the case side. And then inset of that are some linear striations, north to south, slightly angled. And that adds a nice visual just aspect to the watch. And if you look at the buckle, you'll notice an angular buckle. Again, this is also DLC treated. And you'll see those same linear striations on the chamfered edges here of the buckle. So nice attention to detail. We have a polished finish on the side. And then on the top, we have brushing. The top of the lugs carry a nice brushing. And here's my second critique of the Moser. This is not what I would have expected when it comes to the case finishing. And perhaps that's because this is likely done by hand by one craftsman when it comes to the finish work. But I look at the transition lines and they just don't seem to be very well defined. The brushing seems, I don't know, it doesn't seem sharp, like even what I would find on an Omega or a Rolex. So I only say that because this watch retails at $13,900. So when you're spending north of 10, you really want to see absolutely outstanding finish work. It should be a highlight of the model. And I compare it to other brands that I've, tried at this price point or around this price point. Specifically, I'm thinking of Blancpain, I'm thinking of Glashütte Original, and I'm also looking at my more expensive VC Overseas, which really displays some excellent prowess at the finish, the level of quality and detail work. So that would be really my biggest negative element, is the finishing just leaves me lacking. And I don't want to come across as too harsh. I'm not saying that this has poor finishing. It's just a little bit different than what I would have expected. But the watch as a whole is so dang cool. Let's turn it over and take a look at the movement. So this is known as the HMC 200 caliber. It comes with 27 jewels, a 21,600 beat rate here, or 3 hertz, and a 72-hour or 3-day power reserve. The rotor is skeletonized, it's signed, it's fashioned out of 18 karat gold. And then we have a flat overcoil Straumann hairspring and very beautiful finishing. You won't notice blued screws here. They are black polished. We have a free sprung balance anchored in 2 different positions. And then the micro perlage work that you see beyond around the edge of the plate there, that looks fantastic. If we look at the striping, it's not traditional Geneva striping. We have kind of a long width area and then a half width stripe, and that alternates. So, it's unique, it's beautiful. The engraving is done well. It's filled in with kind of a gilt tone. And please excuse my daughter. My 3-year-old is having a bad day upstairs right now. Please excuse that if you can hear her in the background. But overall, this movement is substantially sized. It fills the real estate of the case back to a very pleasing degree. It's always odd when you're looking at a high horology piece, and I'm specifically thinking about the 15400 from AP, where you have this big, beautiful case, and then you have this tiny, almost porthole opening for the movement. This does not suffer from that comical mismatch. This has a very substantial movement, fills, again, the real estate of the back of the watch to a very proportional degree, and it's nice and dialed in. Now, the only thing, again, if I'm going to be critical, and maybe I'm just feeling a little sassy today, but let's look at the dial and specifically the length of the seconds hand. I love the length, and again, this is kind of a substantially sized watch. So that 3 hertz beat frequency really shows up at the end of the seconds hand. You can kind of see it doesn't look jumpy, but it's not smooth like you would find on a 4 hertz or 5 hertz beat frequency. When you have a long seconds hand, that's kind of magnified. And so it's a small detail that, you might care about, and I think that I should mention here. Now, just in closing, let's take a look at the strap. I love this vulcanized rubber strap. It has nice texturing. If we turn it over, you guys can see some striations here, a nice signature, and overall very comfortable. It's an appropriate length, and notice the curved element at the ends. So it really matches the case up well. There's no unsightly gap, but it's not fitted completely against the inside of the lugs. So I think aesthetically, it looks really good. Now let me just sample the winding action here at the end of the video. I probably need to go upstairs and help my wife out with the little temper tantrum that's going on. But this is a screw down crown. We do have 120 meters of water resistance. I love to see that here on this high horology piece. And you guys will you won't feel this, but I'm trying to describe there's a nice level of resistance. There's no crown wiggle, and there's a very nice sound when it comes to the winding, very smooth, and exactly what I would like to see at this price segment. So guys, that's my presentation of the H. Moser Pioneer Center Seconds in the funky blue black. Big thank you to Moser. Big thank you to Exquisite. And I'll just close you out here with a few side-by-side shots with my Vacheron Constantin Overseas. I will say the VC has nicer finishing on the movement. It has a beautiful bracelet. I would say it's the nicer watch, but keep in mind, it's also far more expensive. It's a $20,000 watch, and this one, retails at $13,900. So I would expect the VC to pull ahead, but it's really cool to see how dynamic each of them look and how great they look in natural light. And then again, that beautiful movement on both of them, really very beautiful. You see more of it on the Moser than you do on the VC, just due to the huge rotor that's on the Overseas. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this little video presentation. Thanks for watching. Please reach out with any questions, and I'll see you guys next time.